We've got our $50, let's go ahead and make some huge profit. Now we have finally hit the 1 year of CS2, and unfortunately if you're hanging on for a big update, it's not going to be coming along today. If we want to look at it, the only thing that's really come out is this interesting post right here, which is basically that there was a hidden mode that Valve would actually turn cheaters into frogs. At least that's what they're doing for Deadlock. It was chickens for CS2. Other than that, we really don't have too much information. Simple is once again coming back into the game. If you haven't heard, this is a very interesting development because obviously he has been a big advocate on why CS2 is really poorly made, so it's interesting to see him come back. And finally, an operation theoretically is starting to get a little bit sticky. That's because we've reached over 3 years since Riptide was released, and if you don't know, there's a Shanghai major coming up in just a couple months. An operation would need to be released a couple weeks before that because Valve is definitely not going to be taken away from their Shanghai major, and that's exactly what we saw for Riptide in the previous statement. Skinland is today's sponsor, and they're giving you a $10 bonus with code MasterShiny just to try them out. They're my go-to selling spot with the highest rate for sellers, and it's super easy to use. They're going to be currently the best option, paying over 100% when you use that $10 bonus. They're super trusted when it comes to transactions, and it took me just about 2 minutes for me to get my over $200 from this Emerald Jormungandr. They've got tons of different payout options, and they're also going to be having a super low fee buyer's marketplace. It's super easy, tons of deals cheaper than Steam, and tons of different deposit options. This deal won't last forever. Make sure you check them out today with that top link in the description. Now, talking about the case market, honestly, I cannot see things be going any better right now. If we want to talk about our cheaper rare cases, a lot of them really saw that peak in the middle of September. We saw a lot of them run up in price to then, and they've really held on to that value. Some of them have gone up slightly since then, but as long as we're keeping that value after a quick run up like that, I am very impressed. I am very satisfied by the overall market. Talking about unboxing numbers, things have not been going better. I mean, definitely strong unboxing numbers for nothing going on. Nearly 1 million a day is a perfect consistent number. Unfortunately, like we constantly mentioned, it's not that same ratio we saw last year with the active duty to rare cases. It's a lot different now. A lot more active duty cases are being unboxed than rare cases, but that's how the overall market shifts. That's how time dynamics work. I don't think this is a really bad thing. It's just a sign of the times. A little bit on the more expensive end are those rare cases that we talk about, getting your chromas, your wildfires, your revolvers. A lot of the cases in this area sitting around $2.50 to $3. Honestly, I'm not going to be really touching these at this point. We really haven't been seeing any growth in the past couple of months, and that's just overall because these do have a decent amount of demand, but there's also a fair amount of supply for them, and the unboxing rates on them are decent, but not anything crazy. These are really good, safer pulls, but at this point, I'm definitely looking towards those cheaper rare cases because they've got the momentum, and a lot of people are looking at them. Now I have to talk about souvenir packages and why overall I don't think they're a great investment. We can check out this graph right here. You can see that they fall off nearly instantaneously once an overall major ends because people are just not caring about the old ones. Biggest thing I want to point out is the fact that there are not really any left that are actually rare. If we want to talk about Dust 2, which a lot of people mentioned, it's coming back for the Shanghai major, and I think a lot of people are really forgetting about that fact, especially near to date. It doesn't mean that it's going to be a terrible investment if you buy at $3, but I don't think hanging on to these at $6 is really going to be a smart decision. Personally, I would be selling, and honestly, I'd probably be selling off a lot of my souvenir packages because I don't see a ton of investment potential, but that's me personally. Definitely the Dust 2 though. Now, we just mentioned previously about an operation and why we've got a kind of countdown going on. One thing that's been going on for the past couple of weeks is really an operation hype, and I don't specifically mean a new one coming into the game. I'm talking about those old items. Looking at agents is a great example of obviously people are very invested into these old things that they don't believe are going to be coming back, but it's not specifically just agents. Obviously that's been the big one, but also talking about a lot of these stickers, a lot of these collection patches. Everything that nearly came from an operation has been going up in price over the past couple of months. People are really invested into this area, and it's definitely not a bad thing to be invested into these things. Almost all of these are guaranteed to be discontinued, and therefore that makes a very strong investment inside of this area. There's one thing I want to point out though, and that's the fact that not always are these going to be a great investment. Obviously we can look at Shattered Web and see the oversupply there. A lot of these investments didn't end up too great because they just were handed out to nearly everyone, but the biggest thing I want to also point out is the fact that it's not guaranteed to go up. Just because something is discontinued doesn't mean it's going to continue forever inside of this area, and that's why it's crucially important that you're using data and statistics to back up the investment decisions you're making. Even for discontinued items, even for stickers, it doesn't matter. You need the data to make sure. Now, when we're talking about how you can profit off the overall market, obviously we have investing, we've got trade ups, but the one area that's commonly overlooked is unboxing items. Now, very rarely it does come the opportunity where you can actually make profit opening up some things. This is due to CSROI.com, where they're compiling all the ROIs super easy for you, and one of them right now is going to be the music disc set right here. This is not too common, and obviously with Steam fees, theoretically you're probably going to lose money over time, but it's definitely a good idea to keep an eye on this because these opportunities do come along. Talking about our sticker and capsule market, we're going to be doing it real quick because there's not too much that has really been changing. If we want to talk about Stockholm, the data is definitely supporting the fact that people are still applying Stockholm stickers. It's got the one unique property out of all of these that we're going to talk about, being that the hollows are in the purple category, making them relatively common. Antwerp is still in a decent position as well, in my personal opinion. The data was once again supporting the fact that people are wanting Antwerp stickers because they're going to be coming in at a decent price point. They're not too expensive, looking at maybe 40-50 cents a capsule for the most part, and overall this is a really strong price point for a lot of buyers considering what these were at previously. Paris is still in a position that people are not too favorable of. It's definitely on a cheaper end, and the ROIs are just not really supporting the fact that people want to unbox these capsules at the significant rate that they are really been produced out there. And finally, Copenhagen really has been showing too much potential in recent terms, which is not too surprising considering the fact that no one is really interested. Now, we talked a little bit about it earlier, but active duty cases have actually had one of the strongest months yet. A lot of them are up 25 to 40%, which is a very strong demand inside of this area. I will definitely say be careful though. A lot of this is fueled by the fact that people are unboxing these cases at very high rates, some of which is also the fact that people are investing into them for something like the fracture. I just overall think it's going to be a lot more safer if you avoid this area as an investment. It's a lot of risk, not a lot of reward, and overall you're probably going to end up getting burned like most people do. Now, before I get into the new investments, this is the overall investments. You can find the spreadsheet down in the description, and it's going to be updated every single video to give you the most accurate information. Now, the first investment we're going to be making is into the clutch case. Now, when we're talking about these cheaper rare cases, we're looking at about an 80 cent to $1 price point, and the clutch case is sitting at 48 cents currently, and I think it's got an honestly very easy path to get up to that 80 cent price point the rest of them are sitting at. Just a little bit of hype coming into the market. The clutch case is going to absolutely explode in my personal opinion. I definitely don't think it's something I would go out of my way for to say it's one of the best cheaper rare cases, but in the current market, I think it's presented in a pretty profitable opportunity as long as we see this hype return. Now, the second thing I'm going to be picking up is sticking with those operation stickers we were talking about earlier. I still think there's a lot of potential inside this area with specific stickers, one of which is going to be the Great Wave sticker. Now, the Great Wave is very interesting because it's got a foil, a hollow, and a normal sticker. For our price point, we're going to be sticking with the normal sticker as it's 1/6 the price of the hollow and 1/12 the price of the foil. Inside of this area, I definitely think there's a strong opportunity provided we see the growth that it's been on previously, and I definitely think long term this is probably going to be a better play. Now, I don't think the past two investments we made have actually been risky, but I don't think they're as safe as they could be, and therefore the next investment I want to make sure is a little bit more of a balancing out investment, and therefore we're going to be picking up some of these cheaper rare cases. Unfortunately, it's going to be the CS20 just because of the price point. I am not a fan of this case personally, but the stats do not lie. It's got a strong-ish unboxing demand relative to the supply, which is right low, and overall I don't think it's going to be a bad investment because it is a cheaper rare case. People do like it, and it's got a unique factor about it, therefore it's an okay investment. And finally, rounding us off, I wanted to get into the sticker capsule game that's a little bit more developed. Once again, we're going to be picking up some Stockholm capsules, specifically the Legends, just because of the price point. It's the only one I can really justify. I definitely don't think it's going to be the most valuable investment, but it's a good overall rounding out portfolio investment, and to be honest with you, it's a capsule I don't think can really get much cheaper in my personal opinion. $1 is already quite cheap for the fact that the hollows are in the purple category. That's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day.